All right, hello and welcome to the Learningway experience number 2. My name is Tall Grant. This is the second video in a series of videos designed to help you as a new free enterprise runner get your feet underneath you, start to understand how to play the randomizer, some ways to approach some things and some strategies, and hopefully help you kind of progress in your ability to play. If you haven't seen it, I have a video on something that's our recommended first ever seed for this in Learningway Experience 1. I'll have a link for it in the description to this video here. And you can kind of watch that for a seed, but that seed was pretty wide open and gave you a lot of goodies to make your life easier. This seed is going to take what we did before and expand on a couple of things to give you a bit richer, bigger free enterprise experience, and it's going to start taking a couple of the training wheels off for you. So I have in front of me 8 objectives we have to do. We have to do the Mazamune altar, the treasury, find a couple of characters in Fusoya and Rosa, go do Mount Hobbs, do Antline, which those are both pretty easy, raise the big whale, which is fairly straightforward, and trade away the rat tail. If we do 6 objectives, we get the crystal. The crystal is required for us to be able to fight Zeromus, and of course that means we have to go kill him. So we're going to look through the flags and kind of talk about it. We are expanding things out a little bit here. There are 6 items of the 8 required, so we don't have to do everything that's up there. You'll also see under K, the key items are going to be stuck in the main spots like they were last time, but we've also expanded it out so they will be in the summon spots and in the moon spots. We're going to force the magma key. We're not going to make you go down the hook route just yet, but that might be coming in the future. The pass is found in shops, so we'll be shopping and looking for it. Shops, interestingly, are going to be have money costs in them. The characters are standard, they're out there. The free ones have been removed, so all the places where you would get a character without doing work, like in Watery Pass or at Damsian Castle or walking up ordeals, those are gone. So there are going to be 13 character checks, and there's 12 characters available, so there will be a duplicate out in the seed, which we're not allowed to take them in the party. We can only have 1 of any type of character, but everybody's going to be somewhere. It's just a question of how easy or hard they are to find. Treasure is wild, shops are wild, but again, shops cost money, so we're going to be having to focus a little bit more on looting this seed, as opposed to last seed where we made you just shop for your gear and the chests were all empty. So we're going to have to make some good choices about where we go looking for stuff, but almost anything can be out there. Bosses, standard bosses with the alt gauntlet in play, and whyburn. Wyvern's big nasty attack is disabled to prevent some nasty situations. 4 big glitches: warp, life, sylph, and backrow, and if we have opportunities we'll explain those as we see them. And then finally, Edward can use the spoon, but there's no adamant armor for us. So looking back at our objectives, we are going to not run a timer or anything, because I'm going to be stopping a lot to explain what I'm doing and what I'm thinking about. But the kind of thought process is the Earth Crystal is going to be really valuable to us. There's 1 objective directly tied to it, but also there's 2 character checks inside there, so that becomes very valuable. Darkness Crystal is also something we almost certainly need to have, both to do the Mazamune altar and to get the big whale raised. But those couple things could be really good. Checking Mount Hobbs and Antline are both almost free checks very early, especially with the gear I'm expecting to find. So here's our plan. We have Porum for a start. She's great. She's a white mage. Rosa at the end of the game is a better white mage, but Porum is very acceptable. She has a couple early advantages over Rosa. She will learn 3 spells significantly earlier than Rosa will, and those spells are Exit, which Rosa will not learn until she does Zot, and then at lower levels she will learn both Berserk and Blink, which are very, 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 very helpful. So what we're going to try and do is maximize our time and how we loot here. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do for my opening is, since the free key item is still turned on at Bedward, we're going to go visit him. There are 9 treasure chests in the basement at Troya Castle. So that's a really good check and a really good place for us to go look for some loot. We're also going to probably do a tiny bit of loot at the very beginning in Barren Town. There's a good number of places we can go looking for chests, and it's all clustered together, which in T-Wild you want. There is not going to be any waiting of chests, so just as many as we can open to try and hope that we spike something big that breaks the seed open for us. Once we get done with those initial couple of checks, I am going to see where I think I'm at for characters and damage, and if things look really good, then we are going to probably head for Mount Hobbs and do the hostage. So I think that's enough for it. Let's get everybody started here in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, again, no timer. I'm going to try to play somewhat efficiently, but it's much more important we understand what's here. So there's 3 things to see here. Sid is a starting partner. He's not bad. He can use a lot of gear. The blue robe and the Luca key are here also. So Luca key opens the sealed cave. The blue robe is one of 2 bosses. We're going to be optimistic and hope that's the water hag. But that alt gauntlet, which is a series of enemies based on whoever's locally there's 5 encounters worth of them, could also be looming. And that's time consuming and makes me a little bit more wary about going back to Baron Castle. But we'll see what pops up and how things go. Alright, so we're going to start in Baron. We're going to start in Baron because we're right here. And there's a bunch of items for us to look at. So the first place we can go, we're going to just do a quick peek in this shop. We can't open the weapon and armor shop till we get the Baron key. There are sirens in here. That solves our grind. The grimoires also might solve a lot of problems for us, so we'll probably grab a couple of them once we have some cash. Right, this is Rose's mom's house. There are 2 treasures in here. I don't loot in here much, so I usually struggle a little bit to get to it. Dragoon shield's not bad. Get out of my way. Thank you. Alright, next up we're going to go here to this pot, and we're going to check the 4 things in the inn. 4,000 gold. By the way, if you haven't looked at that, you should be talking to and looking at all sorts of things. There's a Tella and Mom Bomb. Mom Bomb is kind of an ugly boss in that spot, so we may wait a little bit for that. However, that's an Earth Hammer, and that's going to make it so that Sid is more than serviceable to start the seed for us. Alright, there's some chests down in the water. I'm not going to take the time to go down there, but there are 3 boxes up here. I have to remember where they are because I don't loot here usually. I think the last one's up there. And we'll take that. Okay. So that Earth Hammer is going to be more than enough for us to take Sid through our Mount Hobbs check. And that's fantastic. So Edward has a free key item here. It'll say no free item under K if he doesn't. But when he does, it can be very nice. Earth Crystal is kind of a really big hit here because we can do the treasury also. But there's a lot of neat stuff in the there's 22 boxes in the treasury, and then there's another 9 down in the basement in what we call the public treasury. Okay, Sand Ruby. That's another character check. That's actually really good for us because it could be one of those people we want, and it's also a free character. So before I start horsing around on Hobbs, we will go check that. But let's do a little treasure hunting here and see what we can find. Okay, 100 gold. I mean, gold's not bad. We have to buy things. And then 8 more boxes. And again, we're just doing that. Moonveil's big defense. That's really good. Artemis arrows are very nice for fighting dragons. Ninja Hat manipulates agility. That's awesome. And the Gaia Drum will get us past a nasty check where we need area damage. Sid's Hammer also will do the same thing. It'll do a small quake thing as an item. So that Earth Hammer is really, really good for him. We're going to take a minute and we're going to shop here too because we're here. It's always nice to pick up a little shopping when you can. And we're going to start in the item shops looking for useful stuff. Alright, hourglasses are awesome, and I will take some of them if I can afford them. I don't have a lot of stuff I want to sell yet, but I'll get rid of that, and I'll get rid of that. I can afford an hourglass. That's worth it. Even just 1 hourglass can solve certain fights where the bosses are susceptible to it. And they are selling heals and stardust here, and exits. I will take 1 exit. Borm's going to learn it. And we'll take 2 heals just as an emergency. They're cheap and they're handy. Alright. Again, we don't have quite as much loot to buy everything we'd like here. Ninja Sword, Mute Dagger, that's all useful stuff. That's worth remembering here, especially the... Oh, wait. Those were Mute Arrows. We have Arty Arrows, we don't have a bow yet. So, bow would be more important. And just seeing what's for sale in this armor shop. No our Ninja Hats, but we found one. The rest of that, Aegis Shield's not bad, but it's not so good that I'd go out and buy it. Okay. So we're going to go check our Sand Ruby character and see what's there. I feel a little bad that I don't have money, so I can't really buy much in this shop if I see it. But again, we'll just kind of go in here and take notes. Again, if we see something awesome, we'll grab it. So the weapon shop first, because it's right here on routing. Dwarf Axe is not bad for certain purposes. It lets you backrow characters like Kmain or Sid, so that's really good. We'll talk about backrow glitch. Illusion is super useful, and I'm happy I found that. That is Palom, it looks like, in the bed. Let's just go ahead and get him up, because he also helps with damage. So Porum wears the orange shirt, Palom wears the green shirt, and if you look at them in the starting screen particularly, Porum has bigger shoulder pads than Palom if you have trouble telling the palettes apart. But I like Palom. We call him the Quack Kid. He gets Virus and Quack relatively early compared to Rydia. I say Quack, that's actually Quake. Alright, so this lady, you want to shove her back in the corner one step so she doesn't block you in. Good stuff if we have Rydia. I'll take an Ether just for... I found an Ether too, but an Ether one can be handy and I've got a little cash. The Kamikaze is useful, but not so useful. I'm going to stop and get it. We're going to take a quick peek in this armor shop. Black belts here are really good. I don't think I have enough to sell to actually get one, but I would love to own one of those at some point. So we're going to remember that's there. It's kind of a pain to come back here, but if we don't loot out better armor, that's what we're going to go do. Alright, between these three, we should have more than enough to go up and do Mount Hobbs. So we're going to stop here. We haven't opened the menu yet, and that was intentional. Since we're done looting, we can get everybody kind of set up here. We don't have a lot of great stuff for Sid, but we're going to give him what we can. So we're giving him the Earth Hammer because it's the best weapon we have for him. We're also giving him this Ninja Hat to make him faster. And we're going to put him in the middle slot here. We're just going to see what Porum has. We have arrows, but we don't have a bow. We'll make sure Palom doesn't have a bow either. He does not. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the twins out here as well. So the twins are set up nicely now, where we can do some certain tricks with them in the party. And what's nice about this setup is Palom is the order of operations for this, all things being equal, is the center slot character, then the one on the very top, very bottom, middle top, and middle bottom. And Palom's going to get to go first. So our plan for this fight, whatever is going to be up here, is probably we're going to let Sid swing with the Earth Hammer. Palom is going to use his bluff skill, and Porum is going to then cast Twin. And we want Porum to cast Twin because whoever's turn is next is whose wisdom it's going to look at for that skill. And since Palom was a black magic caster, he has better wisdom. So this is going to hit a lot harder by having Porum be the one to cast Twin, and having Palom use Bluff on top of it is going to also increase his wisdom, so he'll hit extra hard. And hopefully we'll blow through this check pretty quickly. The new character we're going to get is going to go into the very top slot. They go to the first open slot in that turn order I mentioned before. So they're going to be in the front row and a little bit at risk, but I think we've got enough power that this shouldn't be a problem of a check. So we will take this check regardless of who it is to get Palom some experience and get him up to at least being able to do Lightning 2. Alright, that's Rydia. A little bit redundant, but we'll take her. And that's one of the Mylons. Let's see which one it is. Okay, so this is Mylon and friends. There's a pretty large group of them. Ghasts are all weak to fire, which Sid's Earth Hammer is actually fire elemental on top of it. So that'll be good. Mylon in the back is not great, but he's going to respond to every time he's attacked by casting lightning at somebody. Rydia's in the front and she's at risk. I'm not too worried about her right now, but we're just going to stick with our plan. We're going to have Sid probably take a crummy attack at the beginning, and then we're going to do Bluff and Twin. And let's see how it goes. Okay. We're going to go ahead and take a shot at the back. There's Bluff for Palom. He responds with Lightning. Porum should be next. We'd like Rydia to survive, but we're not too worried about it. And hopefully this Twin thing's going to hit hard. Now we're going to wait for Sid's turn until they get the cast, because this should kill off all the Zombos, or the Ghasts. Yep, and they did about 200 to Mylon, who again is mad and is throwing lightning at everybody. We're not going to have a whole lot of other work from other people. We're just going to let Sid break this guy down, because Palom only has his 1 spells. You can see here Fire 1, Ice 1, Lit 1, and it's not necessarily great. Let's go ahead and get Rydia up so she gets some experience, and let Sid go to town. Okay, that's the script. Mylon is dead, and we're going to get our experience here. So Rydia gets a bunch of levels, but she was level 1. That's kind of why that happens. She doesn't get too much useful, but she's getting close to Warp. Palom learned Ice 2, and Fire 2, and Lightning 2. So Palom's about to become a very useful caster, even if we don't just use Twin with him. So, we rescued the hostage on Mount Hobbs. That's great. That's our first objective. Next objective, we can go do Antlion Cave right now. That's very natural in progression for us, and we have characters who have some experience, so we should be in good shape. So we're going to go over there, we're going to heal everybody up, and we're going to make our save. Again, it's worth your time saving before every check. If you watch a really high-level runner, we're going to move our Cure 2 up here because we're going to be casting it a lot. And we're just going to heal everybody individually and just get kind of where we want to be. The really high-level runners might skip a save, but as you're learning and playing, it's better to save than not. It's real easy to forget. We're going to loot out this place as heavily as we can. Again, because it's T-Wild, there could be almost anything here, and since we're already here, it's worth our time to grab as many of these chests as we can in the hopes we're going to get something. When we have better gear that we sold and bought all the things we want, that Avenger is a really nice find. I'm leaving that last chest. I'm going to pick that one up on the way out. Actually, no, I'm not. We're going to get it right now because we bought that exit. Porum's going to get exit pretty soon, but this is the chance for us to do that. That was Darkness Arrows, not worth our time. Darkness Arrows actually just cause a blind status. They don't actually inflict dark damage, which is not great. Shuriken, good for edge to throw. This is colloquially known as the Carter Administration chest. It's out of the way, so people haven't checked it since the Carter Administration, which is, by the way, the president when I was born. So that tells you how old I am. Alright, there's 3 more in here by the save point. We're going to grab them all. Silent Staff is good. That's good for your White Mage. And we're going to go ahead and equip that on Porum because it makes her a better White Mage. Other than that, we found a diamond ring also that protects her from lightning. It's better than what she has, so we'll use it. And we'll take a save. I don't mind Rydia being in the front row because I'm not relying on her to do this fight. It's also not a lot of experience in this fight. 350 gold there. Again, finding little bits of gold is nice, but it's not quite what we're after. That Avenger is a really big and awesome item should Kane or Cecil make themselves known. So we'll keep our eyes open and hope that one of them turns up for us. Alright, this is Dark Imps. We're going to use a Sid trick here. So that Earth Hammer is actually a really good item for him. Some of the weapons can be used as items, and Earth Hammer is one of those. Earth Hammer, when you use it as an item, will cast Quake at these guys. So we're going to see if that's enough to get everybody, and if it's not, we'll let Palom finish the fight. But the hit points here are pretty low, not that low though. So that's too bad we didn't get everybody, and Palom can just use fire and clean this up. Again, it's a pretty weak Quake effect, but it's nice to blow up small groups of enemies. And it made it so Palom's spell was enough to get rid of that. Palom doesn't have very good gear, so he doesn't hit that hard without elemental help. Rydia learned Warp, which is a neat trick if we need it, but we have our exit. And that's our underground access. Okay, well now we're going to go leverage some of our knowledge and show you guys a little bit of a trick here. So, it's really nice to go to Fabul after you've been underground, because that way you can save yourself a trip, you can go visit Yong, and you can do the check with Yong's wife early. The other nice thing, if you can pull it off underground, is to take out an egg or something to give yourself a little bit of experience boost so you just cruise through checks in the overworld. Now, when we were playing earlier, what I saw in here were that there were sirens for sale. And sirens let you summon a rare enemy, so that's a fantastic pickup for us. So we'd love to get some of that. I'm going to get rid of this Blitz Whip, this staff, this short sword, all 10 of these darkness arrows. I don't want the illusion to go. Iron ring will go. Shuriken, I don't know where edge is, but I can wait. And this wooden hammer. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy 3 sirens. We will probably want to get more at some point, but the problem with the sirens right now is we have to find a way to get through an egg. Somebody has to have... Sid has got enough power, but the problem is the egg hatches into a terrible dragon. And we don't have a good way to deal with that yet. But we might. So let's see what we can do. But we're going down underground as fast as we possibly can because it's useful for us. I'm going to take a second while I drop my keys and take a sip of water. Okie dokie. Alright, so we're going to do a little more shopping. Again, almost anything could be here. They have elixirs and cure 3s, which are nice, but more expensive than we have money for right now. Out of curiosity, what do you have here? Ribbons are nice, but let's see, ribbons are nice. Wizard hats are not terrible, but that's again way more expensive than what we can afford. Okay, weapon shop, we have Artemis arrows, which are fantastic, but we already have a stack and they're expensive. So we're okay without any of that right now. We are still looking for a way to help us make sure we can do those eggs, but I may have one built into the system already. Alright, so we're going to go to Dwarf Castle first. I like kind of making a big circle around the underworld so we can shop all these things. And let's see what they're selling here in Dwarf Castle today. We're not ready to fight the bosses here, but we can do that, and we can also do a little looting. I don't want to stop too far out of my way, but we want to see. There are coffins. That's really nice, and that's a blizzard item. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this Gaia drum that I have, and I'm going to get rid of this blizzard item that I found, and we're going to buy a coffin. And that coffin is our free pass through that first egg. We're going to take these 3 chests. The Zeus gauntlets are going to be very nice for Sid. They hit very hard. Cat Claw, Thunder Claw, those are nice things, but I don't have anybody that can use them yet. Dragoon gloves are not bad, but we just found the Zeus gauntlet. So nothing here that I'm so hung up on that I absolutely have to buy. Okay. So our next stop is going to be the beautiful town, dwarven town of Tomra. And again, we're shopping for useful stuff, we're watching for the pass, but we're also trying to start looting and building a little bit of a war chest. I'd like to buy a little bit more gear to make this team better. And we don't really have a ton of cash yet, we'll see what we find. So there are cabins here. Those cabins are nice, so are those star veils. That covers a lot of problems for us. So we're going to look through what we picked up, the silver hammer will go, and we're going to buy 3 cabins. And we can afford a star veil, so we'll take it. It'd be nice to have a little bit more, but we're going to make do with it. But the star veil casts reflect for us. It's good to have before we know how to cast wall, and that helps. This little building in the back has 6 chests, so there's a good density of things for us to look for loot. This is also Job Dwarf. He has a different job every seed, so it's always good talking to him. He's a purchasing agent today. Another ninja hat, another earth hammer, which will be sold since we can't have more than 1 Sid. Again, don't quite have the money I'd like to have for things. We'll see if we can get that a little better after the Fey March here. Full Moon is great for backrowing edge, but otherwise nothing we need in the party right now. Okay, this guy is always a bit of a problem because he tends to get stuck back here. And so what we're going to do is walk out and come back in to respawn him. He is selling power shirts, which we badly, badly want. That's really, really good. However, we do not have enough money to raise for that power shirt, but I will be back for one of those. That power shirt is a great armor. It's not the best absorbing damage as you normally think of armor in the game. Usually the best stuff we're going to find in this is probably going to be something like Dragoon armor, but the reason the power shirt is so great is it's going to add strength to whoever's wearing it, and it's going to make them hit hard rather. The black belts do a good job of that, but the power shirt does better, and that's why the black belts are a real bargain. They're only about 14 grand if I remember correctly. That power shirt costs 70. It's worth it. It'll make the party a lot better, and I'd love to buy 2 of them if I can afford them, but we'll see there. Now, we're not worrying about float. We're just walking through this because we plan to do a full heal before we do any sort of fighting here, and it's faster for us just to go through and not worry about that. Alright, so we're going to loot out a little bit down here and also scout a little bit, but first of all, our free item is a white shirt, which will look lovely on Porum. We're also going to look at the bosses. They do mean something in this flag set because, okay, Gaia Drubs and Silk Webs. I will take 3 Silk Webs. They cast 2 slows. They're very useful. The rest of this can probably wait. The apples are so neat, but they're very expensive for what you're going to do in other ways. We're going to go in here and grab the 2 chests. Take a safety save just in case. I like that mute dagger. This is just in case I see something that looks promising as a boss we can take down here, but I don't expect we're going to find a boss like that down here. But since Ksummon is on, both of these bosses could hold a key item, and we're just going to see who they are. It's a little too early. That's Rubicant and Kainatsu. Those are both ugly. Those are terrible fights. Those spots are both very, very strong and very fast. And we're going to hope that we don't ever have to come back and do them. looking in the weapon shop, we have a rune axe, which is also really nice. I don't have a lot I can sell, though, to get it, so that's a little bit sad. I'd have loved to have had that because it does damage against mages, and that taking advantage of those sort of racial traits is really good in this game, but we can't. Well, there's a white shirt there, but frankly, we got one of those for free. So we don't need that either. I'd rather have the power shirt because the power shirt helps against every boss, and there's about 3 that get the mage bonus. Charm harp is not worth much of anything. 3,000 gold is 3,000 gold. Dragoon Lance is good if we see Kmain, and Dwarf Axe is good because we can backrow Sid. Awesome. But we'll talk about the backrow glitch in just 1 second then. I could go sell that Dragoon Lance and get my power shirt. I'm not sure I want to. This is going to be the Palom show. Alright, so this is a spot where we're going to want to use our Siren. So what we're going to do is we're going to save here, and then we're going to burn the Siren and get in the fight. So there are a number of ways we could take this fight. If we have something that can instantly kill it, Rydia has a summon called Cockatrice that's an instant kill. If we can cast Stop with our black mages, that's awesome. But we can skip all of that. We have an absolute guaranteed way to kill it every time, and we're going to do that now. And what you're going to see is big experience and a lot of spells learned, particularly on Palom and Porom. That's what we're going for. 34,000 experience. Sid gets 4 levels, Rydia gets 9 levels, and she learns Toad and Stop, which is helpful. Palom, however, gets Virus and Toad and Quake, and that's really good for him. And there's Berserk and Exit and Heal and Blink on Porom. So both Palom and Porom are really online. I mean, they're past the point where they're kind of having to be carried, and we're going to be able to absolutely run fights for me. So we're going to go ahead and go to Fabul. That was next in our progression, but we're going to make it where we can visit Yong's wife up there, who's colloquially known as Sheila in this community. And by doing that, that'll put us in good shape for what we need to do next. Because we can go on from Fabul and start working on our next few checks. While I'm doing this, we're going to mark off that we did Antlion, because that was done. Okay, we talked to Yong. Since we don't have the pan, we can click on anything, and it just covers our ability to stop in and see him. So I kind of like doing Hobbs into Antlion into Fabul. It's a very natural role and progression in ability of bosses. The other bonus we're going to get, since we've been walking through all those damage tiles, all of our characters are down to a single health. And before the Fabul fight, we get a free heal, so we don't have to stop in an inn or use a cabin. We just get to take advantage of the free setup here. Alright, we're going to get Palom the other ninja hat we found. Or did we sell that? We did sell that. Alright, that's fine. Porom, you may have this white shirt. And we're going to take this ninja hat off of Sid, and we're going to put it on Palom because we want him to go as fast as we can. We're also going to move the party around. This is going to set things so Palom is more likely to go first, which is what we want. So we're going to do this. The other thing we can do is we found that Dwarf Axe for Sid. Dwarf Axe is kind of crummy. If you press select, you can look at weapon stats, and you can see there the power on it's not great, and it's got a negative penalty to his agility, which makes him slower with it. So it's not better than the Earth Crystal, but it has one other big advantage. You see that little arrow next to it means that it is a ranged weapon. When you equip somebody with a ranged weapon in Final Fantasy IV, the game will flag them as being able to, number 1, do full damage from the back row, and number 2, hit enemies in their back row for full damage. After you've equipped that weapon, Free Enterprise and regular Final Fantasy IV will not turn that flag off. So for the rest of the seed, Sid is going to do full damage to enemies in the back row. And he could be placed in the back row for safety reasons if we run into a rough boss, but we're not going to do that yet. Those are Bacchus wine. Bacchus wine, we're going to sell as much as we can to get some of that, because Bacchus wines are really, really good. They cast Berserk, which Porom can do, but that'll also get us through a lot of stuff. We're going to keep this Dwarf Axe in case Kmain pops up. So we're going to grab 6 Bacchus Wines, and we're going to grab 6 Gear 2s just to give us a little non-Porom healing if we need it. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do the check right away, because I feel like we are strong enough. The hope is that we're going to just cast Quake and completely rock the heck out of whatever is here. Alright, we saw those 2 people, and we saw Dark Imps, so we'll clean up our boss tracking a little bit. Alright, who's here? This is Baigen. Baigen has 3 targets, and is going to be definitely Quakeable. So here we go with Quake. That targets everybody, and we'll let Sid be here to clean up the last spot if we need it. So Portman's going to skip her turn. And Sid should be next, but the Quake might do the whole boss in one go. Yes, that did. That is why we took that Siren. That Siren made this from a difficult struggle of a fight to Palom instantly wins it for us. And he cast Quake before anything could really happen to the party. That one single early Siren is going to pay us a lot of dividends as we go. Nice pack. There's the package. Okay. Package is good. We are looking for characters, and that is potentially a character check. So we can see that. I'm going to be a little more choosy about where I loot right now. We still need stuff and we still need money, but we can grab some things. So let's see what Yong's wife has for us. The Adamant Rock, which is the other half of Forge. That's a key item. It's not one of the ones we're looking for, but we'll be happy we have it, especially because we can potentially go make an Excal for a Cecil. And we do want Cecil if we see him, because he's a little easier to play with. Not that we can't work with this party as we have it. They'll do perfectly fine, but we'll see. Full casting and reflect party is always a lot of fun. Alright, so we're going to go up Mount Ordeals, and a lot of people might fade this check. I don't like to, because it's nice progression, but also because it's just a good chance for us to go look for things, and it's just the general habit of how I like to route. If I was doing a competitive race, I would probably think about fading this, but frankly, Cecil is incredibly powerful. Tell is incredibly useful if we get through this as well, and so getting this done, especially if we can do it quickly with Palom, which I hope we can, will be really good. We're just going to loot a little bit here. We're still looking for stuff, and we're looking for things to sell. I kind of would like an Edge, but at this point he's becoming less and less helpful, even with that Mura. The Mura makes Edge a very nice item, but I'm kind of leaning that we're building a mage party today. And I'm really holding out for someone to use the Avenger. So this is Valvalis. This is not a bad spot. Valvalis is much worse in that back attack spot, so this is kind of good. We are going to cast Quake at her and see if Palom can get it before she starts spinning. And he can't, but we're going to also Berserk Sid, because that's the real powerful way to do this. But she's still susceptible in this spot to the big spells. So hopefully Sid is just going to mow her down here at this point. Not too worried about Rydia, though I thought I'd put her in the back row. Guess I didn't. Sid's not hitting for that much, so we'll just go ahead and use this. This second Quake should take it out. Nice to have Valvalis out of the pool here, though. Yeah, Sid, you're just not hitting very well with that, so Palom's here to clean up the mess. Okay, now I just walked into this fight because I saved at the bottom here. That's something I can do because I'm a strong runner and I feel comfortable with it. I'm not sure I would save here, but it never hurts to. And we're just going to do this and again, just kind of heal things up like we want to be sure we're safe. And we're going to change because we know the next attack's the back attack. Again, we're going to count on Palom to carry us through this fight. This is Mylon Z because he is not flying. Now, there's two things I know about Mylon Z. So he's flying, which is how they make him immune to Earth. So what we're going to do with Mylon Z while he's going through his stupid script here is we are going to have Palom. He can't use Quake because Quake it's a flying enemy and Quake won't affect him. We could use Fire because he's weak to Fire, but I think we're going to go with Virus because it casts a lot faster. The other thing is we're going to let Sid hit him because Sid's hammer again is fire damage and this boss is weak to fire. So let's go. Okay, there's our Virus. And we'll Berserk Sid. He does 50% more damage when he's Berserked, and he takes his turn as fast as possible. So that's probably the fastest way to get through this fight, is to do that. Okay, and we're going to wait for the crumble here when Sid kills it. But you can see there he did 1,000 damage when he was doing about 200 before on Valvalis. Alright, we're also going to do one other high-level runner trick here, which is we're going to rearrange our inventory while we're up here and make room for some stuff. This is something we could do to help us not get inventory bossed and run into as many problems, and just kind of do better with things later on. But it also means the next few items are going to go there. Alright, so if you don't feel comfortable with your party, this is a good chance to save. In this room, with Palom knowing Quake, and having Sid and Porum where they are, I'm not too worried about much of anything in here. So we're just going to fix our rows and go in and fight the boss. Okay, who is up here? The Baron key. That could be handy. I don't like it because of that blue robe in the front, but that's a check that we can do. And this is Ashura. This is a mage boss. This could be a really annoying boss for us, but Quake will solve everything. And we're in a position where that helps us. And, you know, once you find that horse in Free Enterprise where it is good, you ride it as long as you can. You want to do things as efficiently and quickly as possible, and if you have a powerful tool like Quake, by God, you Quake everything. So, that covers our boss up here. We know that Tella is in Baron Inn, but there's also a key item check, and we can do that Mom Bomb relatively quickly. It's still not the greatest check, but we're powerful enough that we can handle it without too much trouble. What I'd really like to do, though, is see who the character is up at the package. So I think we're going to head to that package character first, and then we're going to probably go do the Baron 2-step. We're also going to have an opportunity to step in the Baron shop, looking for a few more things to make things better. But again, we're just kind of collecting money right now. We're saving up. We're trying to be a little judicious about looting and packages, because our boxes, because the more time we spent opening boxes, the less time we're actually out working on and completing the seed. And you kind of want to strike this balance of you want to get just enough loot to carry yourself. And I'm getting kind of close on that. Alright, before we do this fight, we are going to save. And the reason we're going to save is if there's a character that we don't want to sit through this cutscene for, then we won't stay here. That's Edward. I normally like Edward a lot, but he's not right for what we're doing right now, and he's definitely not worth waiting 2 minutes to go get. So we'll make sad Edward there, we'll leave him alone, and we'll go about our business. Alright, I saved before. I don't feel a huge need to save right now, so we're just going to kind of go right in, and we're going to go collect our Tella. And we're going to do a couple things. Mom Bomb is an interesting fight that I'll talk about as we get into it. It normally has about 500 hit points here, but because of the Mom Bomb effect, there's an extra 10k on the bomb to give it time to potentially explode and turn into a bunch of mini bombs. We're going to see how hard Sid hits it here, but I don't think it's going to be enough that we can avoid getting into the explosion phase. Yeah, we won't avoid the explosion, so we're just going to let it explode. We have enough hit points to ride it out, and as soon as it explodes, we're going to queue up a Quake. Now you have to be really careful with this because you'll see the cursor initially started on one enemy. Until it fully separates and does that multiple enemy target, you only get to target one of them. And it's really stinky to come into this fight and only hit one of them with a big area spell, especially if you're using like a J item and you only have one shot at it. So we're a little bit weak, and Ogo here would be very dangerous. And there's Wyvern, that's also somewhat dangerous. The worst of Wyvern is turned off because we did the whyburn. We're going to again use Quack and just kind of roll through it and see if Sid can pick up the rest of the damage it needs. We'll Berserk him to get some extra. We'll pass on Rydia's turn. You do not summon against Wyvern because Wyvern responds by casting Mega Flare. And that's bad. Okay, that should be enough damage that when Palom throws Quake, we're through the fight. Again, that Siren is big dividends. This is a really nasty check without all the levels that we had. But because we took that little bit of time to shop and get set up, all of this went very quickly and very smoothly. That's the harp. Everyone loves music, and we'll go there eventually, but since we're a magic party and that spot has high magic, we're not going there yet. But we're right here. Let's do Baron Castle, because we can, and then we're going to probably head underground. Right now, I'm leaning toward trying to do things that get us character checks. Thank you, update from Apple. I don't need you right now. We have already looted here, so we don't need to do anything else. We can go check these shops real quick. See if there's a big item for somebody. Defense Sword is nice for Kane and Cecil, so that's not bad. Dragoon Armor is okay, but the rest of this is not. We'd rather have those power shirts or black belts. Alright, so the next boss is a blue robe, and that blue robe is going to be either the alt gauntlet, which is less desirable, or it's going to be the water hag, which is effectively free. We are at full health. We get a full heal after we do Baron Inn. That was intended in the routing, and it kind of helps us. However, we have not saved yet. That is actually intentional. Instead of stepping out of town and doing our save, we saved a couple steps and we came in here. And we're just going to grab the save point on this watery pass walk. I'm not terribly worried about Baron Castle, but you never know if there's something nasty. Again, it's really good to have that Valvalis off the board. Valvalis is really rough. There's Tella. Tella's interesting. Tella gets a lot of flack because he never grows in his magic. He's going to always have 90 MP. He's going to have really poor hit point growth. But Tella knows a lot of really useful spells you don't always get access to early. And we're going to try and utilize him as much as we can as we play. Alright, let's see what our blue robe is. I think this is Water Hag. This is Water Hag. Water Hag without some of the stuff to make the bosses harder just requires you to do 3 hits. So we hear a little speech from Anna intended for Edward, and we go about our business. I will tell you, this is an end game party. We can potentially go win the game with this crew, should go mode present itself very quickly, which we are still needing to find a couple more objectives. But if the Darkness Crystal's here and one of our missing characters are here, then we're getting really close, and we might just go take care of find a way to go get our grind done. But no problem, that was a pretty free fight. Looks like we lost about 200 health on Sid, and everyone else is great. Again, we have Palom in the middle. We are fast anchored. We want to go quickly. I discussed anchoring a bit more in my first video, and anchoring's important. I will talk a little bit about it, but if you want to see more, I definitely am going to have I can put my second link in the description to my agility and free enterprise video. Alright, so here's Dr. Luge. Again, we know Quake. That's more than enough to carry this fight. And we'll have to wait through a little bit of dialogue from our good doctor here, but as soon as Palom casts Quake, we should be able to kill both these guys. We'll leave Sid ready to do cleanup here, but I don't see this being a problem. Quake may not kill the second form of Luge here, but we're going to give it a try and see how much it does, because he's going to have about 2,000 hit points if I remember right, and Quake didn't quite hit for that much. Our Palom, sadly, is not great in the gear. One thing I did see is rune rings. They're over in the same shop in Tomra where the power shirts are. Okay, that was enough. Beautiful. Again, that Quake is absolutely huge for making this party not just viable, but fast in the overworld. Who's our character? That is Yong. We are not looking for Yong right now, and I'm going to leave him alone because I don't want him. So, our next intended stop is Dwarf Castle, the home of the warp glitch, though we are going to probably make a run down to Tomra and see if we can get a couple things to make the party better. We have already shopped at Dwarf Castle. I kind of know what's in there. The coffins were nice. The sirens up here are nice, and that's a way for us to grind if we need to. But I'd really love to get a power shirt and a couple of rune rings if I've got the cash. The basement check is here. That's a little bit higher level and harder than what I'd like to do. More Artemis arrows was not the answer. Alright. Back to the underground we go. This power shirt is not particularly going to be intended for Sid. It's actually going to be much more useful for a Cecil or Kane if should we come across one of them. But Sid's the only one who's going to wear it right now. But what's really important, let's see, let's get rid of all of our extra junk we don't need. Like we don't need this Slumber Sword. I already said I was getting rid of the Murrah. We're going to keep that in case we get Kane. Fire can go. Whistle can go. What else can we get rid of? Medusa arrows are nice and useful. I don't want to get rid of those yet. I like the silk webs. I like that. Darkness goes. We're not going to get rid of that. Alright, so what we're going to buy is we're just going to buy 2 rune rings. We don't have enough to buy that power shirt yet. I don't need it, but those rune rings are going to make our black mages better, and that's kind of the path we're planning to take right now. Alright, so to Dwarf Castle. We are going to go ahead and equip the rune ring on Rydia because she will benefit. The rune rings are good for the black mages, so you kind of want to put them on that. We're also going to give Palom this mute dagger because it has the 5 wisdom. That's the stat that Palom is trying to collect, and that'll make him better as a black mage caster. This is the last check we're going to do with a fast anchor where we want Palom, who's got our ninja hat, to go there. Once we're done with this, we are probably going to throw something on Tella and let him be our anchor for things. So there's 2 bosses here. It gets a little bit scary. Karate's the first one. This is not a free boss. It's going to take a little bit of work, but hopefully we're going to see a big improvement in the Quake ability. Quake was doing about 1,500 before, and I'm hoping it's going to be closer to 3,000 now. There's 9,000 hit points for this Karate Man, and we just got to keep Palom protected. So we're going to use Porum's second best spell to help make sure we get safely through this fight. So here comes the Quake. And we are going to cast Blink, because that Karate guy hits very hard. We'll get a free shot out of Sid, because we can. 1,700. Not as much improvement as I would have liked, but that's okay. Palom and Porum are probably the most important people in this fight right now. Sid hits for next to nothing. There's Tella being useful, casting Blink on Porum to keep her safe during this, which is good. And we can probably scam a second cast out of the twins by throwing it out of Palom here by letting Twin go with Porum. So not only do we get this, but there's going to be another cast shortly here. Sid is again just being used to kind of buffer some actions in here. But again, Comet's not quite as good. Rydia doesn't know anything too useful yet, and she's about to die anyway. We're going to go ahead and blink Tella up to get him through as well. It's probably going to take 2-ish more Quakes to get through here. Sid's kind of riding along right now. But now Porum has been freed up where she can just do a heal for us, which is great. I don't remember if I put the white shirt on her. I thought I did, but I may not have, so we'll have to go check on that. Okay, Sid, we're not going to let you just waste time with hitting anymore. We're just going to go. Okay. And Palom is running low on... That's why we buy these ethers. That kind of helps us out. Tella, throw something handy in here. See if Tella can give us a hand real quick. I don't see the white shirt, so I think that's there. So that's good. Okay. Should have had him swing. Okay, so we're going to have to do something here for the second fight, I think. This is about the time to get Rydia back up in case we don't kill the Karate here, but that might do it. Okay. This is a little bit scary if we run into Ogo, but I think we're going to have to do... Palom's going to need to eat that ether too to get over. But again, the ether helped us out to make sure we could do enough Quakes to get through that fight. But Palom's a little bit run down right now. This is guards. This is a free fight for us, which is really good. And there's Fusoya. That's an objective. That's good. Fu, you can replace Tella. And Rydia knows a summon that'll help us through this fight too. Okay, so here's what we do. We are going to cheat using Fusoya. See what he has. He has lots of things. Stone would be really nice to cheat. There is stone. If Tella can hit this, which he's not guaranteed to, this will instantly win the fight. If he doesn't, we have a backup plan here. But they're not hitting us too hard. Beautiful. Stone is a great cheating get-out-of-jail-free spell, and Tella's nowhere near as good at casting as Fu is. It's really best if you have somebody in the center slot able to do it. Fu learns a set of spells now, which is good too. Okay, so we are pretty much set for a potential plan for how to do this seed. And we are 3 objectives away from having our crystal and being ready to go to Zeromus. We have a number of ways we can go handle Zeromus. Alright, so we're going to play with something called the Warp Glitch. Even though we have the Luca key, we are not ever going to have to set foot inside Sealed Cave, except for right here. But first, we get our key item from King Giat, or Giat as some say. And he gives us a Mazamune, which we're going to sell. And then we're going to have Fu. We're going to check his spells. He does not know Nuke yet, so we're going to open up a spot for that for later. We'll put Quake there right now. But he knows Warp. Warp goes to the last room you have been to. And since the developers use the same room for Sealed Cave Crystal Room as for Dwarf, we have warped into the Sealed Cave Crystal Key Item Room. And there's our Darkness Crystal. We are one key item away from go. We are one objective away from go mode. So that puts us in pretty good shape right now. Alright. So it's time for us now to figure out how we're going to get the levels to go win the seed. And I think that there is a clear, superior answer for how we do that. And that answer can be found right here where we found the sirens. There are lots of neat grinds and things to do, And actually, the grind is probably, well, let's do the grind for y'all. That'll be fun, I think, to see. Sirens are a great answer, and they solve an awful lot of problems and make things a lot better. But there's another answer that we can do that's going to potentially solve the seed for us and make things very good. In the meantime, though, we have to come in here. We need to get the whale out. That's an objective. That's our way to the moon to go down to the Mazamune altar, and then we can decide whether we want to chase stuff here on the blue planet or if we want to go to the Mazamune altar immediately and try and get stuff done. But I think there's a couple of other things we can do. We're still looking for Rosa. If Rosa is sitting on the lunar dais, and she could be, we haven't seen our duplicate yet, that puts us in pretty good shape to just go to the end of the seed. If she's not, then we have to hunt some more. But we are down to where there are 5 characters, 5 character checks left. We have seen almost everything else. And this is one of them. So, going to be about 20-ish% we're going to see Rosa here. Now, the nice thing about mages is mages don't really need anything to do the end of the seed except a bunch of gear. So it prevents us from having to go shopping too heavily should we be running an all mages party. But we'll take this check out right away and see if there's Rosa here and we can be in go mode. And if we can, then we can go start planning for the end of the seed. Who is this character? It's Cecil. He is awesome, and he will be replacing Sid because he's really good. And we are set up in a way that we can slingshot Cecil and go blow up the moon. That's our plan. That is the play. That's what we're going to do. Goodbye, Sid. Now, the great thing about Cecil is level 1. And since he's just level 1, he can get a lot of experience really quickly. So, we're going to go up to the giant. We're going to do something that's in the vanilla speedrun for Final Fantasy IV using this crazy chart that I'm showing in my camera. This is what's called a D-Machine chart. A D-Machine is a special enemy you're going to see. We are going to force the D-Machines to have an encounter with us on the giant. Fusoya knows how to cast Weak, I believe. I think I saw that in his spell list. And we're going to take advantage of the D-Machines being susceptible to Weak to over and over kill them and get credit for them. I think I want to get about 800,000 experience on Cecil. That would normally take me 20 D-Machines. It'll be 10 D-Machines because we're going to life glitch them, which I will show you here, and it'll become 5 because Cecil's in position for what we call a slingshot. And that's because when you have a character who is at least 5 levels behind 3 other characters, and you've got 5 in the party, they will receive double experience until they catch up. And since we're going to kill 400,000 experience worth of monsters in this fight, Cecil is going to catch up very quickly. It won't quite get our casters online for how I'm planning to do the end of the game, but it's going to put us in a pretty good spot. So we're going to show you how this D-Machine thing works and what we do with it, and there will be probably the third link in the description will be to explain how this works. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on encounters here and save. And Cecil, we want to put a little bit of protective gear. We don't have a whole lot for him, but just something to try and keep him alive and able to do a little bit of damage in here. Not the Avenger, though. And we're not putting the Dwarf Axe because it's going to make him too slow. And we want to basically preserve as much magic as we can, so we're going to go ahead and get filled up with a tent before we go. Fusoya, it costs 25 MP to cast Weak. We're going to be doing it hopefully only 5 times, but it's nice just to have all your bases covered. Okay, so now that we're set up, we're going to reset the save file. That's going to generate a new step counter for us, and we're going to follow this specific path, and it's going to... Okay, so this path had two... This is what the encounter is going to look like if the searcher in the back can summon D-Machines, but based on my table, I know this one isn't correct. What it does say is that we are 2 encounters, so there's going to be 2 more encounters before we get to the correct one for the grind. Here's encounter 1. And the next one should be the grind encounter. Okay, this should be it. Looks right here. That's good. Alright, so Weak's our big spell, and we're going to use that to take these bad guys in the front out so we don't have to deal with them. They don't hit for that much. You can do this grind with actually not a whole lot of health. And the Weak puts it down to single-digit hit points, so even our Silent Staff Porm should be able to hit those things pretty well. Okay. Palom, you're going to help us out a little bit here. Actually, Rydia, you'll help us out instead. That may have been cast on the wrong person. I hope it's not. We'll see. That was supposed to go on the upper searcher, or not the upper beamer, not the bottom one. If it did, that's fine. That's beautiful. So he stopped. He won't do anything with us. And we'll let Porm do this. Okay, so we want to hit that searcher in the back for next to no damage. And the guy who does next to no damage right now is Cecil. And then here comes our D-Machine. Nope. This is the wrong encounter, and I have done my chart wrong. Alright, let's try it again. Alright. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing. Alright. Sometimes it takes a little bit to set this up right, and apparently I read my chart wrong. So let's make sure our custom was on. Encounters are indeed on. Okay, this is the fight. This should be it. Same thing. A little bit more different, but same thing. But you'll see how fast the grind goes and why we did it over Sirens in just a sec. Okay. We're going to use stop just to give ourselves a little bit more breathing room in here. Okay, we'll weak this guy up here that we didn't stop. Again, they're going pretty quickly, but it's manageable and it'll be fine. Cecil's going to wait for right now. Porm's going to kill that guy. Porm's going to miss that guy. Okay. This is not a terribly efficient way, but we'll let Rydia do that because that's good. Palom, you can wait. Here comes our second weak. That was enough to kill him since he was weaked. Porm, you can wait. Probably would have been nice to throw a heal at Palom, but we'll be okay here. We're doing fine. Cecil, can you kill it? Yes, you can. Alright, Palom's going to cast Lit 1 to get our first D-Machine out. We want Fu to go as quickly as possible. There we go. There's our weak. And we wait till the week's queued up before we go. And we're going to try and see if we can snag a life glitch in here. So what's going to happen with this life glitch is that Cecil is actually bringing it back to life with 0 hit points. Because it has 0 hit points, it does not stay up for very long and it dies, and we get credit for killing a second one. So that's actually effectively credit for Cecil killing 4 D-Machines because he's getting the bonus on top of the life glitch. Wait for a second. We will stop and heal between fights here. And if we get lucky, we can get a second life thing in here, but it really just depends on anchoring working out just right. Nope, we didn't, but that's 2 of them down. We do need to heal the party. And we're going to take a minute here to do one other bit of business. We don't want Fu to run out of mana midway through what we're doing here. So we're going to go ahead and throw Fusoya an Ether to make sure he has plenty of magic. We're going to let Porm do a Cure 2 on the party to get us healed up. We're going to wait for Palom's turn because he typically is going before Fusoya. And we'll bring out the 3rd D-Machine. Okay, here comes D-Machine number 3. This should be Rydia. We've got 3 more to go. Here comes weak. Wait for a second. D-Machine throws its fire attack, which again doesn't take us anywhere close to taking us out. Get Porm to hit it, and then Cecil is hopefully next in time to get our life glitch off. You have to get it before the death animation goes off or it won't count. Rydia should be next. Okay, here's Lit 1. There's Fusoya, ready with the weak. This is kind of exactly where you want to land with things. Okay. Wait a second. We're probably going to do one more heal in here just to make sure nothing weird happens. And Cecil should hopefully be ready to life glitch. Okay. No problemo. You are going to wait, sir. Okay. We have enough room for him to throw a Cure 3 to make sure things stay good. And we'll throw a Cure 2 specifically on Fu to make sure nothing bad happens to him. And we get to Rydia's turn. We'll call the last one up. Now we could theoretically just go here. To get Rydia all the way pumped up here would take us probably about 10 D machines. But frankly, Avenger Cecil is going to be more than enough to carry us here. This might be Palom, and that's okay. Nope. Okay. It's really fun being able to also swing the black mages through this because they can go from 0 to nuke really quickly. But, okay, we need our last life glitch, and that'll be 800k on Cecil and about 400 on everyone else. There we go. That's good. Now, to make sure we safely get out of the fight, what we do is we go over here to Fu, and we cast Weak on the Searcher to guarantee we kill it. And now that we know it hits, we can let Porum just make the kill. And we can watch the experience. Okay, fine. Or we can let Palom make the kill and watch the experience roll in. And there's Avenger Cecil. Alright, 439,000. Palom gets a bunch of levels, and he's starting to get some of his big spells, like Stone and Psych. Fusoya gets 4, Porum gets 16, and let's see what Cecil does. Cecil gets 50 levels. And so in about a 6-minute grind, we took Cecil from 0 to thing. And if we had the 10 key item bonus on top of that, we could have done that in 2 to 3 D machines. It's really pretty incredible what you can do with it. Fatal on Rydia is very nice too. Did Rydia also slingshot? She did. All right, that's even better. So we have both of those characters. Rydia is 1 level away from nuke. Cecil is slingshotted. So we're in really good shape. We're going to put Fusoya down here to be our anchor. We're also going to backrow Cecil right now. We talked about backrow glitch earlier. Dwarf works just as well on him. And he is going to be really, really, really good in the back row. We want to take good care of Porum. We want to take good care of Rydia. Does Rydia know any big summons is the other question. Did we learn anything in Dwarf? Not really. That happens sometimes. Alright, so before we leave Giant, we don't have to do Giant if we don't want to. But we are really powerful, and there's a character check up here. So this might be worth our time. This is a little bit of a hard check, especially because I have the Avenger turned on. But it's something we can get through fairly quickly. Cecil has a boatload of hit points, and I think we have a couple of cure pots to do stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to slow down the battle speed, and we're going to see if we can get through this fight. It is unfortunately based on his health, so he's going to roll for a lot of damage here, but if Fusoya can get through... Fusoya may not get through the first one, so we may abandon this. But if we can get a big heal out of Fusoya, that might be enough to get Cecil through the fight. Okay, this is totally survivable. Okay, heal Cecil for as much as we can. You know, Cure 3, so keep the party up if we can. Porum may or may not survive this, we'll see. She did not survive it. Okay. Cecil's definitely getting through. We want to get one other character through if we can. Nope. Cecil's going to get a bunch of experience, but this was a fairly fast fight. Would have been neat to get experience, but it's neat to get that done. And again, this is kind of changing the end game. My original plan was going to be to take Cecil through... Take Cecil as kind of a thing and do caster strats, but... Avenger Cecil is very capable of soloing the end of this game, especially if we can get a better weapon on him. And there's Nuke on Fusoya, which is something else we were looking for. Okay, let's just finish our giant because we can and we're here. We will re-auto-equip the Avenger on Cecil because it's that good, and we will fix our battle speed. There are a couple other bosses that we do not want to use the Avenger against, but there's so many that it's worth it to have it. We're just going to put it right on Cecil and see if he can get going. And then the giant's done, and we're going to go blow the moon up looking for our last objective. Ideally, if Rosa's here, though, we're just going to go to the giant and go win the seed. Or go to the bottom of the moon. There's a lot of experience in this point, too. This is the Maga Sisters. And we're going to quake the heck out of this crew because quake does not get reflected. I don't think Porn needs to do anything right now, so it's just going to be Cecil Avengering and then quaking. This will tickle a little bit, though. That tickled a lot. That's fine. Palom should be able to do quite a bit, and then Rydia should also be able to do quite a bit here. Everybody knows Quake. This is the seed of Quake. Just keep casting Quake, everybody. It was also nice that Cecil was beefy enough there to take the hit. He would not have survived that had he not done the Dark Knight Cecil fight. And now we just got one of them left, and we got 2 more Quakes coming. No problemo. These bosses, by the way, have something called the boss bit. When they have the boss bit, the life glitch won't work on them. Things like Baron guards or Kaipo guards totally can be life glitched, but bosses that are actual intended bosses like the Maga Sisters have that boss bit to protect them from status ailments, from casting instant win things like Fail or Stone or Weak against them, and so you can't do life glitch on them. Undead also can't. Hello, Kane. It is too late in the seed for you. Everyone has levels. We are not taking new characters. This is our party. Alright, well, we've got the power now. So we're just going to go to the bottom of the moon, and we're going to do the Mazamune altar, and we're going to blow it up in the hopes that we find what we need. It is sad we have not found the pass for sale. We'll probably check the moon shop as a quick look for it. But I don't see a huge problem with us doing anything that's going to be on the moon now. And not to mention there's a bunch of experience that's going to definitely tip Palom and Porum into endgame spell territory, which is the other piece of business we want to do. But walking down the moon twice is never quite ideal, but it's not bad. And so we'll go do that. Alright, yeah, it's fine either way. I'm not too worried about it. Alright folks, my daughter's going to probably be in and out watching the run, so if you hear a high voice, that's her. There's no pass, but we'll take another hourglass or two, and we'll take some Cure 2s just in case. Again, pass would have been really nice, but we didn't see it, so we're going to blow up the lunar checks. So Ksummon and Kmoon are not weighted the same as Kmain. They're actually a bit lighter. At the start of the seed, Kmain is about 71% to hold a key item. Kmoon and Ksummon, through a difficult algorithm, end up being more like 45%. So the trade-off is you're going to have a little bit less likelihood of getting key items up here on the moon, but in exchange you're getting better experience out of the bosses. They're a bit harder for that reason. Anyway, walking down the moon is a good opportunity for you to kind of organize your thoughts and think about what you're doing and kind of get things together. It's about 1.5 minutes going down to the bottom. It's better to do this when you have the pass in hand because you know you won't have to walk it a second time, but we're 1 item away from go mode, and that means if we can get something that'll get us an opportunity to see Rosa, if we can get the Earth Crystal, or if we can find the Rat Tail and the Hook. So it's not necessarily great odds, but we're going here because there's a lot of power. There's a chance to get a big final-ish game weapon on Cecil and do everything well. So we'll see what we can come up with. Alright, down to the bottom. So we're going right. There are 4 key item checks over here, and that'll hopefully give us a lot of opportunities to do stuff. We may also, if we get something useful that lets us go check characters, we may save scum out and go take a look, because that Rosa is becoming lower and lower odds to be there. Let's do a little bit of magic cleanup. We want to go ahead and get Nuke up here on Fusoya where it's easy to get to, same with Rydia. We're going to get Rydia up here where she's going to go a little bit faster. We're going to go ahead and also start setting Palom up. He's going to get nuked pretty soon, but he's not quite there. Same with Porum. But Palom and Porum are 48. Level 52 is when you're going to see them both acquire their final endgame spells. And I think we're about 300k away from that, so it's probably going to take all 3 of these altars plus a little bit more to get them where they need to go. We got 2 more sirens to fill in the gap if we really need to, but I think with the party as it is, we probably are okay to fight Zeromus. So again, we safety saved, we made sure we're in good shape to do this next check in case there's something awful here, but otherwise should be no problem. We've seen Whyburn, let's mark that off. This is Dark Elf. A couple fun tricks for Dark Elf. He has 2 forms. We talked a little bit about the boss bit about 5 minutes ago. The first form of Dark Elf has the boss bit just like other bosses like him. However, the second form of Dark Elf is not going to have the boss bit, and so we're going to use that to cheat and get through this guy a little bit faster. We're just going to use Palom to add a little bit more damage here because it's about 1500 to get him to where he changes form. We don't care that you did that to Cecil. And let's see if this gets us where we want to be. Okay, so he is changing, and we are throwing the Hourglass. Because he doesn't have the boss bit, he will be susceptible to quite a few things in here. And one of them is going to be to that Hourglass, which means that while I don't think I'm in too much danger, now he will not get to hit back at us at all. We don't have to sit through his animation, we don't have to be in any risk whatsoever, we can just sit here and at our leisure we take him down and he dies. So that's really good. And between Cecil and the nuke casters, we're in great shape. Again, that Avenger on Cecil doing a lot of work. It's not quite Zeromus appropriate, but it covers almost everything else, and hopefully we get something up here. What do we get here? Another Zeus Gauntlet, but we did an objective. Okay, well, with that being an objective and a bunch of experience, we're going to go back, we're going to heal up, and we're going to save. I don't think we're in bad shape, so one of those tents will do fine for us. We're going to save those cabins. I think we've only got 2 of those left, but we're rocking along. And there's a bunch more checks we can make here at the bottom of the moon just to try and get going here. The tent should also fix Cecil, which is not... Having him be pig is not terrible. He's not going to be casting, and that's really the primary penalty of being pigged. So we've seen a lot of characters. There's only 3 left. And one of them will be a duplicate, which we haven't seen. And so those 3 spots left are the 2 on Zot and the 1 on the hook route. So if we get the hook, we obviously go check it. Evil Wall can be a very nasty boss. This guy hits really hard and is awful. So we're going to do a couple things to try and make this better. The nukes are going to take him down. We're also going to try and slow his roll a little bit, but we really want Palom and Porum to get experience here, and Palom's in a lot of danger on the front row. So, we bought 3 silk webs. One of them is being saved for Zeromus, but one of them is perfectly great right here. Let Evil Wall take less turns. For 3,000 gold, that was a huge value buy. And in the meantime, we'll just start knocking this guy down. Porum's job is going to be, again, using Blink. Blink is one of her most useful tools. And we'll just take this out. Little stinks. It stinks that we lost Rydia like that, but that's okay. We've got a little bit of time to get her back up here. not worried about that too much. Cecil's going to be chipping away at this thing pretty well, so I'm not too worried about the overall ability to win the fight here. Okay, you're going to use this life pot and try and get Rydia back up. And Palom's at risk again. But we're going for speed. We're not too worried about a lot of other things. Rydia's great. We're going to try and protect Palom because we want him to make sure he gets the experience from this fight. Rydia already knows Nuke, and while levels would be beneficial on her, it's much more critical that we try and save Palom if we can. Cecil again rocking away at this thing. It's getting pretty low though. We've put a lot into it, and I think there's about 40-something thousand here, so we're moving along at a good clip. Fusoya is about to run out of Nuke, which is a good sign that we're going to have to use a cabin after this fight to fully fill him up. There we go. All done. 100,000 experience. Fusoya gets a level. Cecil gets a level. Porum gets 2 levels. Palom gets 2. They're at 50. There's Medio for Palom. They are 2 levels short of the big stuff. And there's the hook and the Legend Sword. That is a big deal. Okay. So there's a decent, a 1 out of 3 shot, that a little better than 1 out of 3 shot, that Rosa is going to be in that final position. So we're going to go do what's called a save scum right now, and we're going to go check that hook to see if Rosa's there. If Rosa's not there, then she must be on the Tower of Zod. We have the package, we should mark that. But we got our save. If we walk into the hook route and we see that Rosa's not there, then we can go do other things. But there's a 1 out of 3 that Rosa's there, 1 out of 3 that Edge is there, and then about a 1 out of 36 for anybody else to be. So I think it's actually 13 out of 36 is the chance we're going to find Rosa out of here, which is good enough odds. Otherwise, we go back up and we keep looking for the rat tail. But Kmoon is starting to feel like it was a good play. This is not the most efficient route we could have taken to get the hovercraft, but it's the one we took. It's okay to save scum. It is not necessarily ideal to save scum here because we will potentially be racing the hovercraft twice if we're not careful. But we'll see what this nets us. Excuse me. But the other nice thing is, because we did our grind, we are pretty close to Zeromus ready now. I'd like to probably, we have those, we can probably take gold dragons to get us the rest of the way, which would be very nice, but it's not necessary to do that. But again, I said at the start of the seed, Rosa's the better white mage, but in this case she didn't appear. And with the level she's going to have, Porum has been very serviceable and has put in very good work for us. So she's been doing absolutely great. My only other worry about this Z fight is that Cecil's weapon right now is an Avenger, and coming in with a native Avenger has its own set of problems. But I think our intention is this is going to be a mage Z fight. We bought that Star Veil to supplement what we had, and we should be in good shape. Is this Rosa? That is our duplicate. That is not Rosa. So we go back to our save file on the moon, and we continue working toward finding the rat tail or the earth crystal, because it's one of those two things is what we have to do to finish the seed. We haven't checked the harp yet. This is the alt gauntlet, which is an awful check, and we have not healed. The alt gauntlet, however, is, while the alt gauntlet is a ton of levels, I'm not sure I want to take the time. Let's see. We are here, and it's a question of do you want to sit through it. And frankly, this will get our casters really strong and ready to go, so we'll just go ahead and take care of it. I'm not terribly worried about what this is going to be, so let's just see if we can find what we need up here. We found the sand ruby too. Okay. And you can see Cecil hits some of these guys pretty hard. And Cecil's been cursed, but the nuke should take care of it. Pound, we want you to help a little bit if you can. That's the first of 5 for the alt gauntlet. Okay, this dude is susceptible to weak, so should make this a lot easier to deal with, and then we can just let Cecil kill it. Not that it has that many hit points, but how fast is Fu? Probably not fast enough. Nope, not fast enough. Again, it's a little more time consuming than I'd like, but we're here and we're clearing it. So that's what we're doing with it. And this is going to top everybody out. This is normally only about 30k experience at this altar, and now we're a lot better. So yeah, all of our end game spells are on everybody now. We've got 3 black mages who can cast weak, so this should go pretty quick. Entangling Cecil was not my first choice for how we do this fight, but that's okay. So we'll just weak everybody, and then we'll let Fu quake through it. Because they all have less than 100 hit points. Actually, we'll let him virus through it because it's faster. So Quake has a little bit of casting time on it. It's still fairly quick. Virus is an instant cast. As soon as Fu has it prepared, he will call it. In fact, he called it so quickly that the Ryu did not get weaked yet. And the virus killed the Ging Ryu and it ran out of hit points. So, beautiful. Worked out well. That's 3 fights. There are 2 left here. This is the Tricker. He is going to tell you that he is weak to lightning, which is technically true. However, if you cast lightning on him, he has 12,000 hit points, and he will survive it, and then he will counter you like you wouldn't believe. But he's susceptible to things like Coffin, and also not... I mean, Cecil might get him before the Coffin goes off, before the Fatal comes off from Rydia here. But Weak also works against him. Yeah, so Cecil just took him down, and as long as you don't lightning him, he's not a problem. Okay, and one more Tricker. And I think we'll just let Cecil take him out. He's going to show us what he does, but that Fatal I forget has a long cast time. We'll see if Weak gets off quicker, but Cecil's already done 7,000 to him. So this next Cecil hit could kill him. Nope, he low rolled it by about 800. But no problem, we have our final experience, we don't have to grind anymore, and we're ready to go. So, I mean, at this point, we're kind of hoping that the rat tail pops up here, but just a Dragoon Lance. Alright, so this stuff could be in a lot of places, so we have a lot of things left to check. Just out of curiosity, did I mismark something? We do have the Legend Sword. We can get Cecil a big hit and stick it a little bit. That solves our final fight as well. But it is kind of stinky that Rosa is packed up on Zot, especially if the Earth Crystal ends up gating the rat tail. We may have to search for a little while to find where we're going. But there's not a whole lot of threatening checks. We're going to kind of take care of the moon as quick as we can here. Not too worried about this fight, so we're not going to stop and heal, because we again have kind of overwhelming-ish power. Pale Dim. Pale Dim is you don't want to cast white against it, I don't think. You definitely don't want to summon against it, but it will be completely nukeable here. So Fusoya is our anchor. He doesn't have a rune ring like the other two, but frankly at this point, as far as casting things like Nuke, Palom and Rydia have surpassed him. Their stats are a lot better than his are going to be, their MP pool is a lot bigger, and they're just going to do a lot of great things for this fight. Again, we just kind of want to get through this, but I'd love to get a little more experience on Palom. It just gives us a little bit more oomph and protection in this Zeromus fight. Cecil again cranking away with that Avenger. It was a great find when we got it, and he is just doing great work with it. Palom needs to have his spells fixed, because I'd love to have that nuke up at the top so I don't menu as much. Beautiful. All done. Next up for us is the Murasame altar. There's life 2 on Porum, which says she's getting really over-leveled now, which is good. Pinktail. That would normally be an adamant armor, but that is... adamant armors are off here, so that's probably going to be a nice weapon or arm... or it could be like a white shirt or something, but I'm more thinking it might actually be a good Cecil weapon or a white spear or something. You never know. Alright, so we're in pretty good shape right now. We're going to burn a tent because I don't want to take the time to go in and out of the whale. But since we're up here clearing the moon, and we can, we're going to clear up all the moon spots before we go back down. And I'm kind of leaning toward, we do the moon, then the checks we have open to us. I want to save the Ksummon checks because I'm feeling like we're getting a lot of value out of it. We've gotten the pink tail, we've gotten the hook, we've gotten the legend sword. That's 3 items up here. And if we find, and the pink tail, that's 3 items. And I feel like there might be one more for us up here. But I'm kind of leaning toward us going to check the harp or going to take a look at top of tower, which are the 2 big checks we have left in Kmain right now. Tower key is always nice to have when you get it, to do tower together, and of course doing the 2 pan checks rather is valuable too, but we don't have them in hand right now. So Rosa and Edge must be the characters that are sitting on top of Zot, and it makes me feel good that I got rid of that Edge sword to get money. Okay. Well, we're just going to cast a bunch of spells against you, and you are going to die, you know. We saw CPU earlier. We can mark him off as well. Still have not fixed Palom's spells, so it's down at the bottom. And with all this... Very nice from Porum. Between the white shirt and the silent staff, the white hits for a big amount of damage. It would be better if it was able to cast faster is the biggest drawback of it. But we are really strong right now. And I mean, again, we took Cecil from nothing to powerful pretty dang quick. Just an apple. Alrighty. Decay value, and then probably harp check after that. About the only thing I think I would really not be terribly inclined to deal with here is going to be Golbez, and the reason I don't want to do Golbez is because he has a long speech and he's time consuming. But other than that, again, safety save. Fusoya up at level 60 now. So we are way overpowered. This is Antlion. This is actually a really obnoxious boss to be here. And we are going to take the Avenger off Cecil because we don't want to be drawing his counter all the time. And we'll just magic our way through this fight. There's about 30-something thousand, I think mid-30s in health here. Okay, your job is to protect Rydia for now. And we're going to let Cecil work as a, basically our hit point battery, while the nukers just take this thing down. But having Palom hurt like that is great because Cecil's going to auto-cover him. And hopefully before things get too far, we'll get a blink on him for Porum, which will help with the cover. We're going to have Cecil show Antlion the weapon. If you pick parry with Cecil, he will stop covering, and we want him to be covering because he's doing an important defensive service for us right now. So, keep him covering and things will be fine. Alright, and again, this was a much easier fight than it would have been without all those levels on the mages. So again, just kind of overwhelming power to make us really good here. Is this our rat tail? It is a white spear. It is not. And we are off to do harp. If I was trying to race a little bit more competitively, I might have been tempted to fade a couple more things up here, especially once the pink tail came into our possession. I'm usually looking for about 3 to 4 items to be on the moon. Alright, so we want to go and get our airship here, and the reason we do is because we don't want to potentially block the path to the pass door. Speaking of, I don't think we've shopped in Mysidia yet. Let's go take a quick peek and see if the pass is in here, because that'll keep us from having to walk down the moon again. It is not, but there's Bahamut. That's nice to have. We might learn it. I'm not sure we need it too badly because Rydia knows Nuke. Okay. Probably should have saved right here, but we'll be okay. It's not that much more walking. Okay, so you'll find yourself in this situation a lot of times where you're one item from go mode, and there's also kind of a sneaking suspicion that everything is buried and tangled underneath each other. So we are going to, again, just try and keep our wits about us, and we go in places that make sense. It is slightly faster to go to tower, but I'm holding out hope that either the tower key or the pan is going to present itself here, and I can save long-term walking. I'd rather kind of keep my options open under the thought that I'm going to have to check a lot of things rather than gamble and hope that there's just that one thing that's going to save me. But our odds again are a little bit stronger that we're going to find something here in the Kmain checks. So we have open to us this check, top of tower, the 2 bosses in the Fey March, and the boss in the basement of Barren Castle. And they all have their own positives and negatives. The good news is chaining key items are generally useful for us. The tower key means it's very attractive to go do the 2 items at the tower. The Earth Crystal is obviously go mode, and the pan is 2 key item checks. And the Rat Tail, of course, is also go mode. So we're going to hope that the right things just pop into our hands here. Okay, we want to kind of get through this as quickly as we can, and we're going to be stuck with him doing his script, unfortunately. We'll put the Avenger on Cecil. That's going to actually lock him up and get him set for the next fight. The scary thing about this fight with a caster party, Cave Magnus has the highest magic defense of any spot in the game, and it's because the Dark Elf is intended to be completely immune to magic. So coming in here, I didn't want to do it early because I had a party that was primarily riding on Palom for Quake, and Cecil is actually berserked with no weapon. It's a glitch on the Avenger that's going on right now, which is kind of funny. But we're going to do probably a full Reflect Zeromus fight, which is also a lot of fun. So let's think about what shops we haven't been to. We haven't spent much time at the Hook shop. We didn't look in there to see if the pass was present. We have not been to the Silvara shop either. And I think we've shopped almost every other item shop in the game. The pass has to be somewhere due to flags. Enjoy the music, folks. And there's Cecil shredding it like a boss. Wasn't even close. Is this go mode? It is not, but it's a good chance to go do the 2 tower checks. So let's go do those now. Those are both Kmain. and we're starting to get to the bottom of the barrel on Kmain checks, but again, a little bit more likely to pay out and in good shape here. Alright, we are hoping for the rat tail or the earth crystal to make itself apparent. And we're going to make one other strategy choice here to help us with the tower. There are two places you can play in the tower. And we're going to go, they are both trivial for us. We are in such good powerful shape that neither of them is going to be a problem for us. But one of them has a long cutscene associated with it. And so we're going to check the one on top just in case it has go mode for us, and we can avoid sitting through the other cutscene. It's best not to save outside the tower. It's a lot better for us to come in here, go up and hit that save point at the top, and we'll deal with what we need to up there. Magnus was also kind enough to give us a full heal on the party, so everybody's pretty much topped off right now. I don't think Plague actually got a turn during that fight because Cecil is so fast with the Avenger. And he could probably own this fight by himself, but a couple more nukes would be helpful. When we do open the menu, we're also going to fix Palom and Porum's magic to get us kind of endgame ready for what we want to do. And we're probably going to do one more party cleanup for how I want to organize for the Zeromus fight, which, no, we'll hold off and do that until it's Zeromus, because I want you to kind of see how that plans and works out. Alright. So Porum, we're going to put white up here. We're not worrying about Cure 4 because I don't think this party's going to have any more problems than the rest of the seed. Okie dokie. Moki dokie artichoke. Who is up here? We have Rubicant, and we saw CPU on the hook route earlier. This is not actual Rubicant because we've seen, I think, actual Rubicant. So I believe this is going to be the Elements fight. Yep. And Cecil's going to rock this thing, but we'll just kind of crush it as best we can. Again, with this much power, with the casters, we are in just absolutely siege shredding territory. Elements can die at half health if it is not making the transition to the next thing, because that's where it also refills. Defense sword is not the answer. Alright. We will do Tower Key, and once Tower Key is checked, provided we do not receive Go Mode or the Pan, we are going to the Feymarch. And the reason we're going to the Feymarch, those are two tricky bosses, but even though they're tricky bosses, you know, we hadn't seen Rubicant, we just saw his outside, so we were lucky that was Elements. That could have been Rubicant. But we're going to go down to the Feymarch next because there's two checks right next to each other, and with as much nuke as we can do a lot. This is super annoying because we have to wait for three characters to get killed here. So we are going to attempt to kill 3 characters and save ourselves some time. Everybody that gets their shot is going to try and hit themselves. Okay. That improves the odds that Cecil gets through. There is next to no experience, and frankly, this is a fight where things should go pretty fine here. We're fast enough that somebody is going to survive and be able to just wail on this guy, but it's better if he leaves Cecil alone. Rydia taking herself out is also helpful because we don't have to wait for that one character to be killed right away. Those kamikazes we saw earlier would have been helpful here. I didn't have the money to buy them at the time. That's not necessarily ideal that Cecil is down, because he would just probably go before Golbez does. I think Palom is still fast enough that he'll go faster, and I'm not sure there's a spell that this guy is going to throw in this spot that'll kill us either. But Nuke should take care of him pretty quickly. Yeah, he missed his virus, so not so good for him. Alright. But we'll see. I mean, if I was actually running this in a race, I'd be a little concerned that I'd full cleared the moon, but the fact that it's got this feeling that the earth crystal is going to hold everything, and that does happen sometimes. Okay, the other thing that we're going to start weighing is whether it's worth our time to go hunting for the pass. And the problem is there are 3 shops, I think, where the pass can still be. The shop on the Hook route, the one in Silvaria, and in the Cocal Forge shop. We've been almost everywhere else looking for it. It is about a 2.5 minute time save walking down the moon versus if we have the pass. So the question really for us is can we check all 3 of those shops in that less than 2.5 minutes? And if we can't, are we willing to gamble? The real problem is there's a cutscene in front of getting the Cocal shop open, and there's also a fairly lengthy amount of work to do to get to the Hook shop again, because we have to re-raise the hovercraft. So whether we find the rat tail is a big deal of this. That's an X-Cal. It's not bad for Cecil, but it's also not what we want. Okay, to the Fey March. Seen what? No, but I can come help you with it when I'm done. It's just I'm not finding what I need, so it'll be a little bit. Alright, back to the Fey March. We were down here pretty early in the seed, and we're going to go hit up our cabin right away and get a save. Again, trying to be safe here. And we're going to hope we find what we need. Alright, that gets us in pretty good shape for this. We're going to also set up Cecil, where we want to basically have his Excalibur and Avenger easy to swap out. So we just kind of stick this here, the Avenger and Excalibur switch places, and that means that we can toggle Cecil between a big Holy Sword and the Berserker monster that we had him for. So we're going to do the right side boss first. It is a little bit faster, but it has a lot less health, and we should just be able to work our way through it. The Knautso can be an ugly fight because it rolls waves based on its remaining hit points. I don't think it's a huge problem for this party, but it's going to take a little bit longer, and so I'd rather just go through Ruby as fast as we can here. Okay. This glare is Ruby's biggest effect, and it's going to kill things, but that's okay. We're not worried about power or levels here. We're just going to try and nuke Ruby down. This will be a Fire 2 response, which he does when you do this. And again, decent magic power, but nothing like groundbreakingly terrible. I think if after Palom's nuke and Cecil's next swing, this guy's dead. But he is not very nice, so you can see him kind of just shooting back at everything. We're queuing up nukes as practice, but for all intents and purposes, he's dead. That's the pan, but since we're down here, I don't want to just run and check it right away. It's not going to take me very long to fight the Knautso, so we're just going to go take care of him right now. Okay, we want to get everybody pretty much healed up here. We're going to start with the Avenger on Cecil because we want him to go as quick as we can and start taking down hit points, because the remaining hit points on Knautso are effectively how hard he's going to throw the waves at you. So the faster we can knock him down, the less the waves are going to hit for. But as you can see, he is quite fast here. And I'm fully expecting well over 1,000 hit points in this first wave, even though we're going to get at least one nuke off before it happens. But Cecil's beefy enough that he'll take this pretty well. We're already more than 16k in, which is about halfway through the fight. Getting this white on top of it's even better, because that's going to be 8 or 9k. I mean, she is, wow, almost quad 9s. A full card of casters is nothing to mess around with. They hit pretty dang hard. And that's why we checked this before we went to go run the pan down. There's the first wave, and it is for a whopping... Yeah, so he is down in the less than 1,000 hit point range. Good job, Fu. You got one cast in there. And this is why I thought a caster party would be really fun to play, and the seed kind of just handed it to us, especially by keeping a lot of the other characters out of our hands for so long. Hey, power shirt for Cecil. Isn't it lovely? It's a little late for it, but it's okay. That's probably the last really nasty boss fight outside Zeromus that we have left to do. Alright, Pan is 2 key item checks. I think our plan of attack is we are almost certainly going to take a peek in the Silvara item shop and see if the pass is there, because that saves us some walking. If we have to get the hovercraft out for the rat tail, then I think we do the full-on let's go digging around and see if we can get the if we can find the pass for sale. And it's getting iffy. It might be worth just going and stopping in the forge shop while we're down here. I'm not planning to come underground again after this to see if the pass is over there. So yeah, so I think what we're going to do here is we will do this. The pass has to be in a shop, so we're going to go check the forge shop. And we'll plan on trying to not go down the moon again. But we are running out of checks here, folks. We've got 2 checks behind the pan here. That's go mode. Okie dokie. Well, let's go do our forge real quick, see if the pass is there, and we'll just kind of systemically go looking. We definitely don't need 2 Excaliburs. I don't mind checking what's in the shop, but we're going to do a full reflect strat. We are perfectly set up for it, and Crystal getting more stuff for Cecil isn't going to really help us along the way. Always love to rob Kokol. He has a Zeus Rage today, so he is pretending he is a mage, which is fun. And let's see what he makes for us. But we are at 14 out of 17. We'll be 15 when we get our crystal in a minute. And we'll be grateful we don't have to go do Zod. Do you have the pass for us? You do not have the pass. Okay. Vanilla Excalibur. Well, hiding it behind that Knatso is ugly, especially because my spidey sense for where key items are and are placed, I'm going to call my prediction right now that the rat tail is going to be sitting, or let's see, there's a couple places the earth crystal can be sitting. And my spidey sense is saying that the earth crystal is going to be sitting behind that pan in some way, either because it's going to be behind the rat tail or behind Sheila too. We'll catch it in the scroll, but we'll see. Okay. I don't know why I checked that, but that's a force of habit chest, I guess. But we are about 7 or 8 minutes away from being done with this. But that being said, I think we'll have done everything but basement, Zot, and Sheila 2 is kind of where we're landing on this. We've been just about everywhere else. So we're playing along at a pretty good clip. This was not the way to do the seed was to find the earth crystal faster than we did, but that Knatso is just such an ugly fight. Okay. We'll see if like a Stardust Rod or something is behind that pink tail while we're here too. Okay, there's the pink tail. Another Dragoon Lance, none of which we could use. Okay, there's the rat tail. And that completes our objectives. There's our crystal. Is the earth crystal here? It is! Ha-ha! It was all behind that ugly Knatso. That is, by the way, an awful fight to go through, especially because we didn't see Cecil till we got darkness. Okay, so we're going to do a little safety save right here on top of the hovercraft. The pass, if I have counted my shops correctly, has to be in 1 of 2 places, and this is one of them. The other one's the place on the hook route. It is faster to check these 2 shops than it's going to be to go walk the moon down again. Do you have my pass? You do not. I'll take some life pots and I don't need a whole lot else, but... Alright, so we'll see. Is there any other... let's see, I went to Agert. I'm just kind of going through my list of shops. We did all the gated shops except the one. I don't mind having extra life pots. I don't think I'm going to need them, but it never hurts to buy those when you see them. So, but that that Knautso gated 3 objectives because the Earth Crystal's back there, the Rat Tail's back there, and of course the missing character is back there. So that's always interesting to see. But if it's not here and I missed a shop, then we have messed up. And maybe I wasn't watching carefully enough because I don't always shop for the pass, but I believe it has to be here. There it is. Beautiful. Soma drop would have been nice for Fu, but he's not going to have enough time to run out of mana here. Alright folks, so here is our strategy against Zeromus. I love Cecil, and Cecil with a power shirt and an Avenger and an Excal is an awesome weapon, and he will shred Z. But he is not the absolute fastest way to fight Zeromus. The real fastest way to fight Zeromus is going to be with a big mage party that's going to be reflecting spells onto him. So I'm going to show you really quickly how we set that up here and what we do. We're going to start with Cecil in the middle. We're going to want him to go first. He's going to be our anchor. He's at 37, and it's not... Actually, no, we want to leave Fu in the middle. We're going to put Porum second and Cecil third. Nope, Cecil second, Porum third. And this is going to be kind of a setup for how we want to do things here. We're also going to lower our battle speed in here, and we're going to do a save. Alright, so now that I'm on this menu, the flow of the fight is going to be this. We want Fusoya to go first and to throw the crystal at Zeromus. Cecil will take the next action while Zeromus is dealing with the crystal animation, and he'll put on a Star Veil. Once the Star Veil's on Cecil, Porum will go third. Again, that middle, top, bottom order is really important here. We're going to have Porum cast White. And when Porum casts White, there's a long casting delay. We're going to have her target Cecil. And she's going to hit Cecil straight up in the hopes that it will bounce and reflect off of him. After that happens, we are going to throw our Silk Web with Rydia to throw Zeromus down. I'd love to have her be doing nuke, but that's not the correct setup for the fight. And then we're going to let Palom start throwing nukes, and then basically the 4 casters cast, and Cecil's not really going to swing. Cecil could probably throw some swings if we count carefully, but we want to avoid triggering the refill. Zeromus, when he takes 45,000 damage, refills his health back to full, but if you are bouncing casts off of him, he will not do that, and he'll just get to his full health and die, which is why this fight will hopefully be a little less than 3 minutes. And in fact, to demonstrate that for you, I haven't had the timer on yet, but we are going to turn the timer on now, and I'm going to show you how fast the Z fight's going to go here. All right, let's see, double check, make sure our battle speed's on 3. We want time to buffer our inputs in. Let's go fight Zeromus and win the seed. There's Grant's timer. I do have a pass. Alright, so the question we usually ask in the free enterprise community, because the Zeromus sprite is randomized out of a pool, it's currently a little over 600 sprites, and we don't know who we're going to fight, is whose butt are we going to kick tonight? Alright, so when the fight opens, we will start the timer. And hopefully we de-equip the Avenger. If not, we can adjust to it, but that's better if we don't have it going on. If I left the Avenger on Cecil, that's a common mistake, and it happens, but I think I took it off him. We'll see. Fusoya should be first. Okay, Cecil's first, though. That was not quite the plan, but we can pivot and deal with that. Sometimes the turn order is a little wonky for how Zeromus' script works, so we'll just kind of pivot as best we can. Okay, so Cecil's going to throw the crystal for us. Now that that's done, we're going to put the Star Veil on Porum. Rydia is going to actually be too fast to do a cast here. Because I know how fast I can input and what's going to happen here, we're not even going to attempt to put a... No, we can attempt one. It might work out depending on how fast Fusoya is, but it probably won't. So we're going to throw this here just for learning purposes, but this is going to be too fast. Zeromus actually has to decloak before he can do anything. So this is probably just going to cast and then waste a little time and not hit anything here. You'll see just kind of flash. Nope. Zeromus is faster. We're okay. Alright, so we are at 8,000 damage on Zeromus. We're going to do a rough count as we go. This is where we throw our Silk Web to slow Zeromus down for the fight. So we go from 8,000 to 15,000, which is good. Cecil's not doing anything yet. This will trigger a counter. Depending on where it goes, we may have to rescue somebody, but we've got enough power that I'm not too worried. Palom can probably eat this. We'll see how hard it hits him. No, Palom will not survive this this upcoming toss. So we're going to just keep on with what we're doing. Cecil's job is going to be to life Palom up when we get a chance, and we're doing okay. But we're at about 15,000 right now. This might go off the rails a tiny bit, but we'll see. Get Palom back up so we can start playing. Okay, we're at about 21,000 now. And again, just queuing as many casts as we can. We've got about 40,000 left to go. This should be pretty big. Porum is pretty boss right now. Okay, that gets us to about 32 to go. Fu's not great, but he does fine. We're at about 27 to go. If Porum gets her white up here, we're in good shape. $21 to go. Cecil, we're just going to let him ride. We probably need one Porum white cast and one other nuker to cast as well. 14 to go. That Silk Web again is paying big dividends because it's slowing Zeromus down a lot, and I'm not too worried about it now. We've got him. Again, having Cecil go first was not ideal, but he's just enough faster than Fusoya to do it, and you know, it's hard to calculate the math on the fly sometimes. We got about 10 to go. So that nuke from Rydia is probably going to solve it. We're going to throw a direct nuke from Palom next for the next one. If there was a big bang, Cecil's more than beefy enough to survive it. We don't have a problem, and that's it. So 3.5 minutes Zeromus fight is pretty good. That's about the upper end of what a big Cecil is going to swing through that fight with, and that involved a little bit of unluckiness where Palom went down. We could have probably stayed about 20 seconds if that hadn't happened. So that takes us through the seed. We're going to take a look at how many boxes we looted. It was again a little bit lighter on looting than you would normally do in a T-Wild seed because I ended up doing mages and D-machines. You don't need a lot of gear to do that, which is kind of fun. And then we'll watch the credits. But again, this is probably an alternative. I know that Antidale has recorded a similar video of this seed, and I think he probably took a more traditional approach with it. But the slingshot is a fun way to play this and a neat way to get through it. And we covered a lot of ground in a fairly short period of time. Again, I think we did everything but go up Zot, turn in Sheila 2, and do the Barren Basement. Everything else on this seed, including the Forge and the Giant, got done. So, we'll watch a little bit of the credits. We'll find out where the Earth, so we know where the Earth Crystal was, so I don't think there's a whole lot else to do here. We'll see the box count. I will probably let you guys see the rollout here and just kind of finish this thing up. But I do appreciate you sitting and watching the video. If you like seeing me run, I run on twitch.tv/tallgrant. I'm fairly involved in the free enterprise community right now. You can find a couple racing clubs. I'd be happy to hang out with you. If you're streaming for enterprise, I will try to pop in. I love subbing to people who are subscribing and following people who are learning it, helping them figure out tricks of the trade and how to play free enterprise better. And I would love to hang out. So if that sounds cool to you, hope you enjoyed it. And otherwise, have a great one. Again, several links in the description to help you out. Take care. Have a great one. Missed it by that much. Alright everybody, 68 boxes is pretty good for a T-Wildish seed. I think we made pretty good use of our time. Take care.